Welcome to Unfiltered with Roxy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unfiltered with Roxy. This is where we get real about life, growth, and leveling up in every way. And I wanted to do a quick personal check-in. How are you doing right now? How are you feeling? Did you have a good day? Was everything on point? Did you get to feel and do the things that you wanted to do? Did you live today with the purpose you wanted to have? A lot of times we're going through the day and we don't even check in with ourselves. So I just wanted to give a moment and space for that, for you to check in. And today's episode, we are talking about procrastination and how it can really delay your destiny and disrupt your purpose. So, one of the things that I got to read this past week that really touched me is don't put it off. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. And that's Proverbs 6, verse 4. So, one of the things that this episode is about, which is Stop Delaying Your Destiny, a real talk reflection on procrastination, purpose, pressing through. This week, this mini lesson really touched me a lot because, when you say do not procrastinate, you usually feel like cringy about it, right? You're usually like, I'm not procrastinating. I just have to do this. I have to wait to do that. And there are reasons behind us doing it. But really, I had a come to Jesus moment about what procrastination actually is. And it's really a spirit of delay. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. And it's really about us motivating ourselves into doing the right things, but also having the habits and setting up our lives so that we can flow and move quick. Because really, it is a big deal when one thing over here is affecting things down the line and you can't see down the line. You can only see the little narrow that's in front of you. So that's why we have to go ahead, do the things we have to do, move with purpose and action so that down the line, the things that are supposed to be aligned for us will meet up at the right time. So it doesn't get easier the more that we progress and procrastinate things, especially if we can accomplish it now. If we procrastinate, it's not going to make it easier in the later. So when we procrastinate at first, it's not a spiritual thing, but I think maybe it might be because it ends up being the spirit of delay in our lives that show up quietly. It's the under the mask of, oh, I'm just doing self-care, or oh, I'm just busy. But ultimately, if God has put something in us to do, we are not going to have peace until it gets done. And someone else's destiny is tied up in what we're procrastinating to do. So we have to make sure that we are really living in our purpose. We're really moving towards what we're supposed to do. And one of the things that I think made me realize that is the ripple effect of delay. And some of the things that happened to me were small things that taught me a big lesson. This past week, I had opportunities to be in alignment and just do some simple things like getting up on time. I've already been getting up earlier. I've been able to get my journal, my prayer time, my meditation. I've been able to do those things because I purpose to get up early and do it before the world can start distracting me and sidetracking me. And so this past week, the day that I have mentioned was a day that I said 4:45 is usually when I set my alarm. I usually get up by 5, but this day I decided to get up at 5:15, and that little bit of delay had me off because the night before I did not wash the dishes and do the things I was supposed to do. So I already was in a time deficit from that little bit of procrastination, and you're going to see how this works later in that day. So I didn't wash the dishes the night before and I had less time. So I hurried up, got dressed in the morning. And when I was rushed in the midst of me rushing and making sure that I got out on time, I missed like an important email that had some details that I needed in it. And I had to stay late at work because I missed what I was supposed to do earlier in the day because I got up like it was just a whole thing. And because of that, I missed my favorite workout class, which meant I was just in a bad mood. And it's like instantly when I was at work late and I was at my desk and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's already 5. I'm not going to get to body balance on time. It's like the Holy Spirit just touched me. It was like, this is the spirit. This is what the spirit of delay does. It steals our joy. It steals our peace. The things that we plan to do now get push to whenever. So think about it. One of my goals this year is to get back healthy, to make sure I'm going to work out. And one of the things of health for me is stretching and making sure that's part of my regimen for the week. So that already had me off. And so whenever we're delaying things, it's not going to be better for us. It never works out better, right? If you could do something now, you're not going to have the same grace and energy and momentum to get the thing done. It doesn't become easier when we procrastinate it. And don't let it be something that's time sensitive because then it's pushing all the things back. And if you're a project manager or trying to get a project manager certification like myself, you just realize like the one little thing in the project could be to call so and so. Well, if you don't call so and you need to make sure that something is moved forward by a certain date, that little phone call being off just makes other things off. So that's one thing that I have realized. And in that has also taught me that God is a God of order. So whenever we are out of time, because God's timing has a order, it's divine. It's like something that, yes, you can manipulate, but God isn't into manipulation. So we're dabbling in something else whenever we decide to go down that road, right? And so when we delay what we know we're supposed to do, we disrupt the order, not just for us, but like I was saying, that is holding up someone else's purpose, someone else's help, because we need to be at certain places at certain times in our lives to be where someone else is struggling, or maybe they want to bless us, but because we're off, we're not going to be where we're supposed to be. So I learned this the hard way. And I think one of the major lessons is that going back to school, I had my kids early. So when I was going to nursing school and stuff, I put it aside because I couldn't do all the things, right? But it never occurred to me that, yes, being married and having a baby early is hard. But when you're trying to go to school, it doesn't get easier the later you wait because you have more and more responsibilities. It doesn't get easier per se, right? And so because I had young kids, I didn't have enough money, blah, 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 I stopped. Well, when I finally went back was when my kids were in high school, and it wasn't easier. It was probably even harder. And the money was probably even tighter because I want my kids to be able to do football, basketball, if they wanted to do track stuff. Like the money wasn't more money at that point. I would probably purpose less because I had 4 little people that has hopes and dreams as well. And I wanted them to be prosperous that way. So that didn't make it easier. My mom had got sick. So my time did not become more abundant because they were older and could take care of themselves. Yes, they were in high school, but I, in fact, needed to lean on them even more because I needed help to support that work of taking care of my mom. So going back to school didn't make it easier. I did get it done, got my 2-year degree at that point, but that was definitely a eye opener, and waiting later does not make it easier. You know, you get so overwhelmed with things that we don't think that waiting will make it harder. We just think that in the moment it feels better to feel that release, but it didn't make it cheaper for me because, even now, going back to school now is even more than when it was 5 years ago. So it's even more expensive. And it's not like I enjoyed it more when I had waited later. So just thinking about how I'm like, oh, well, it's less stress because my kids are older. It wasn't less stressful. It wasn't funner. Even now, I'm going back to school and trying to launch my own consulting business, getting contracts. It's not easier for me to be in school. And even I missed my last registration because I said, I need to realign things, repurpose my time, and really get locked in. Um, and that I think is different than procrastinating, but it just made me realize like it doesn't become more fun the older I am. So it's been a few years since I got my 2-year degree, about to finish my 4-year health degree. I don't think my projects are any more fun now that I'm older. So when you are out of the time that you're doing things out of order, you don't have that grace. You don't have that ease. When we're supposed to do things is when we have the energy for it, when we have the grace for it, it moves easier through. So please, 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 if you know in your heart you're supposed to be doing something, do it right away. Don't wait. You have grace for things in the time that you're supposed to do them in. So one of the things that was really funny about this is I was telling her how I had had this bad week. Another thing that had happened is because I missed an important email, I ended up procrastinating going to get something, which procrastinated something else. My car ended up being messed up. All these things had made me be like, really like, I cannot procrastinate anymore. It's too much. And my daughter told me this story. She said, She said that Michael Jackson is known for a story that he tells about he does not procrastinate things because God may give the idea to Prince. So he was always known for like if an idea came to him at 1 or 2 a.m., he was up, he got it together, he's in the studio, he was making the music because he knew that if he did not move on stuff, somebody else was going to move on it and get it. Which brings me to my next point. If we don't move on things, the universe it needs to get done, right? Someone else is going to get it done. Someone else is going to be moved and do it in the right time, have the grace, and have exponential growth when they're in the right time and the right season. So when we're procrastinating, we're missing out on that. So being in a competitive spirit with yourself, with your others, making sure that you're doing the best thing that you could do at the time means move when you're supposed to move. Have you ever had an idea and then next thing you know, somebody else gets the idea and it's not even someone that you know, right? And it goes viral. One of the things that I had realized about moving things in time, this just happened last week. I was watching something and the girl was like, I just did a video. I didn't know that anyone else would even think it was funny other than me. It went viral. She was on the Today Show, everything. So when we have these ideas, we need to move on them because we're staying, praying, hoping, saying we want money, we want opportunity. But if we're not really moving at the time we're supposed to move and being ready. So a lot of that is making sure you have the equipment you're supposed to have, getting the apps and knowing how to use them the way that you're supposed to be able to use them to save you time, to do all these things. That will help you to progress and really be ready for when that moment comes. Really, when we get inspired to do things, it's not just because there's reasoning behind it, and we are not always going to know the reasoning. And it may not be anything that we've done before. So we need to just make sure that we're really in our flow, and we're not going to be able to be in our flow. We need to be, when we're not able to really be ready and go in our flow, that makes us out of our flow, which sounds kind of loopy. But when we have everything together and we're ready, we're going to be in our flow. And so it's not really funny that Michael Jackson had said that. It's just, it's deep because it's like he knew that if I did not move now, if I didn't get on this creative thing, it has to be created. The universe has a purpose for us. The Lord has a purpose for us. If I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And I want to be that someone. So we need to take our ideas that are planted in us that seriously. We need to take our purpose and our destiny that seriously. When that download comes, it's so important that we are moving on it. I went to an event yesterday with my friend, and someone had seen that the mayor was there, and she was so quick to move, and she was telling my other friend, the mayor's here, blah blah blah, maybe he'll give a few words. And I'm telling you, just her quickness of thinking and the way she was just moving so quick in her flow, that made me realize that if we're not ready and observing and really being sharp at all times, we're going to miss out on our blessing. That was such a blessing that, you have a friend that's looking out for you in your event and that is able to get you to move, get you to get up and really be a presence. So we really need to be alert, aware, because that's how quick the opportunities are. It's like 5 seconds you see someone to just know the things to say, to know the response. So we always have to be ready. And so I'm just looking at my notes here. One of the other things that I really purpose to do this year also was to work on my health. And one of the things with health is that you don't always see the changes right away, right? So that's why a lot of times people are like, well, I'm fine now. I mean, everyone has to die at some point. All the, things that people tell themselves when they don't want to take care of themselves. Um, but last fall, I knew I wanted to be healthier. I knew I wanted to get some stuff done. And I wanted to be able to flow in this second leg of my life, third leg of my life, whatever leg it is. I wanted to make sure that I'm the healthiest I can be. So I had already started eating better, working out, purpose to work out more, also cut out drinking because I just knew that I had gained so much weight and just felt so inflamed and bloated all the time. So one of the things that I had decided I have to work out. Got that under control, making sure I'm getting my strength training in, started eating more vegetables, stop tried to cut back eating my fried stuff. So when I went to the doctor, that was a telltale sign that thank goodness I had started making those changes, because my A1C was off, my kidneys were off, my cholesterol was up just a little bit, was on the borderline, even my blood pressure. So all that to say, if I had procrastinated when I went to get checked out, I would have had like definitely more elevated blood work. I also had realized that maybe some of my kidney stuff, I had already started drinking water. Drink your water, guys. Even if you're going to the bathroom every couple of hours or every hour, you need to make sure you're drinking your water, taking care of your kidneys. I also was eating Advil like they were candy. Not good. And it was because of hip pain I was having, and I kept procrastinating going to the orthopedic surgeon, which I just made an appointment for. So some of the things that we think are little, we cannot keep procrastinating them because it's only going to harm us in the long run. So if I didn't take that first step, I think I would have just kept eating poorly, kept not exercising. Once you get on the ball, then you can make more greater goals, more specific goals. And I think in general, at first I was like, just start strength training, just start going to the gym, just 15 minutes strength training. So now I'm at like 45, and that's nothing for me because I know I love to do it now that I'm in a routine. So don't put off especially with your health, because it compounds. Your body is able to heal itself, but when you're in bad eating habits, it just makes everything else harder, more work to get back on track. And we're trying to really make sure that we're easier on our bodies, easier on that path. When you're eating well and you're drinking your water, you're going to feel better. You're not going to feel depressed or have anxiety, social anxiety. No, I'm just kidding. Or have anxiety. So when we're taking care of ourselves, we're actually making a real investment in our future as well. So every decision, drinking your water, making sure you're moving, making sure you're resting, making sure your sugar intake is low, making sure you floss. Because also, you know what happens when you don't floss? You get cavities in little places that make your visit at the dentist even worse. That's all I'm going to say. I did it for a year in COVID and ended up with way too many cavities and a whole numb mouth. We're not doing that again. So making sure we're flossing, not eating a whole bunch of sugary stuff, and making sure we're brushing our teeth. Anyways, another area that I really seen delay really affects and has bad effects is in communication. Have you ever thought about that? Like how you want to tell someone something and you know you have to have that hard conversation, but you decide you don't have to do it now, right? You do it maybe later down the road. And then it's like by the time you have the conversation, it's like a big knockdown, drag out, blowout. It's because delaying it is not going to make it better. It's not going to make the message easier. It's still going to be the same message. So we might as well go ahead and do it when we're all at peace and we're all calm and we can all already say that we don't want to work on that project, don't want to work with that person. We do want to work with that person. This is what we want to do. This is what we don't want to do, in a clear mindset. Just saying, learn that the hard way as well. So sometimes we have no choices. Emergencies happen, life happens, things slip, but other times we delay things and we just hope that, hoping that something will come through that will absolve us out of having a direct communication about it. It never helps. It never helps. So just go ahead and get it done. Get it done. Okay. So whether it's a business relationship, or your close friend, having hard conversations are just hard. They're uncomfortable, but you're better off not making confusion or anything else and just making a clear communication in the front end, not the back end. So some of the things, sometimes you just got to say, I can't help. I messed up. I thought this would work and it didn't. That's not a failure. It's honesty and it's obedience. That's what we're supposed to do. We are not God. We are not the fixers of all things. So we could go ahead and just let someone know that. Like, I thought it would work, thought I could make it work. I can't. Keep it moving. And sometimes we got to do that to ourselves, say that to ourselves as well. We're not responsible for carrying everyone's burden, doing everyone's thing, trying to make everything fix. It's just not worth your mental health to try to do that. So we are at the half point of this, or more than half of this podcast. What are you delaying? What do you need to get done right now? Right now. What do you need to get done right now that you're not getting done? Are you putting off getting connected to your purpose? Maybe it's your blog. I procrastinated my blog for years, at least 5 years, and it didn't make it easier. So are you supposed to be writing a blog? Maybe it's booking a doctor's appointment. Maybe it's launching an idea or brushing your teeth after every meal. You got to get it done. Okay. Freedom doesn't come from doing it later. It comes from doing it now. It frees up your mind. It frees up your purpose of every day. So give yourself grace. Look at yourself with the rose-colored glasses, through the rose-colored glasses. You're learning, you're growing. Don't let that grace become an excuse to stop, though. Don't say, oh, well, I didn't know any better and didn't just keep doing it. Like, now that you've heard this message, looking you in your eye, now that you heard this message, you've got to move and do better. You have to. So when you hear yourself say, oh, well, I'll just do that tomorrow. Why? Unless your leg is broke, you're going to get it done today. You're going to get it done today. Okay. So as DJ Khaled says, keep going. Don't stop. Even if it's one little thing off of that list, keep going. And so our final encouragement, you were made to shine. You were made to walk into your divine timing. You have all the tools you need to get it done. You have all the tools you need. The Lord has implanted the universe in you. You have the answers in you. You just got to be quiet enough, take the time enough to press through and get it done. You do it. So when we delay, we risk the operating in the permissible will instead of the perfect will of God. And the permissible will allow all things, even for us to struggle, even for us to bump our head one time too many. So just think about that. Don't resist when the Holy Spirit is putting something on you. Do it right away. Get into alignment. Drink your water. Write the blog. Have the convo. Start the walk, right? Some of us have a walk that we're supposed to do. Lead a community for a community walk. Just saying. And I'm talking to myself as well. I'm not outside of this conversation. Literally just happened to me last week. So I'm not outside the conversation either. Okay. So one of the things that I want to also say is you're loved, you are purposeful, you're full of purpose. You were made for a time like this. So we're in heavy, hard times. You were made for a time like this. You are in the spaces you're supposed to be in. And there's other spaces you have not seen or even thought of that you're supposed to be in. So go ahead and get that done. Be the boss over your life. Not anyone else, not any leadership, not any dark forces. None of those things are boss over your life. So I love you. Look at yourself through eyes of compassion, those rose-colored eyeglasses, and keep moving forward and keep growing and keep experiencing and help somebody else. Bye.